For 6 long years, they told us the injuries didn't exist. They told us the numbers were rare. They told us the suffering was psychological. They told us to move on, but the injured never moved on. And now, for the first time, the Canadian government is forced to face them. From September 8th to September 11th, Parliament Hill in Ottawa will see 4 days that could change everything at the ALLISON inquiry. Lawmakers will sit in that room and listen, under oath, as Canadians who trusted the system stand up and describe how their healthy bodies were destroyed by the very shots that they were ordered to take. For the first time in this entire manufactured nightmare, Canadian lawmakers will be forced to sit face to face with the human wreckage of the COVID-19 vaccine campaign. Not statistics, not carefully worded press releases, real people. Mothers whose lives were destroyed overnight. Fathers left permanently disabled. Nurses who trusted the system and paid with their bodies. Truck drivers, parents, and even Parliament Hill staffers whose healthy hearts were shredded by myocarditis. Over 1,200 desperate Canadians flooded the applications. 50 of them will stand under oath and speak the raw, unfiltered truth that the government, Big Pharma, and the captured media spent years desperately trying to bury. Conservative MP Dean Allison is chairing this nonpartisan reckoning. MPs and senators from every party are invited if they have the courage to show their faces. It's being broadcast live in English and French straight from the heart of power. You can watch every second at allisoninquiry.com. So, do you understand what this means? After years of gaslighting, firings, bank account freezes, and official denial, after the Vaccine Injury Support Program took thousands of shattered lives and compensated only a pitiful handful, after the government froze the numbers at 58,000 adverse events and more than 11,000 serious ones. Finally, the injured are storming the gates of Parliament itself. And these are not the anti-vaxxers that they painted as villains. These are the compliant ones. The ones who got the jab because they were coerced into believing that their jobs and their children's futures depended on it. And then were abandoned when their bodies rebelled. And let's not forget, I was sounding this alarm from day one. In January of 2020, before anyone else I know, I released a video titled "The Truth About the Coronavirus They Hope You'll Never See." Then in February of 2020, I sat down with Del Bigtree and warned about the coming mandatory vaccination program in a video titled "Del Bigtree on Coronavirus and the Coming Mandatory Vaccination Program." And just a few months later, our channels got terminated. The last time I saw you, Del, was in February of this year. We were both speaking at a conference in Acapulco, Mexico. And I recall at the time I did an interview with you called Del Bigtree on the Coronavirus and the Coming Mass Mandatory Vaccination Program. Now, that video was deleted by YouTube about a month before my channel was deleted. So I want to talk a little bit about that and the concept of mandatory vaccines. But before we get into that, just a quick reminder, Del, at that conference, you and I were speaking on a panel, and we were both taking questions from the audience on that panel. And the topic of the panel discussion was censorship of alternative media in the age of these major tech conglomerates. And here we are, 5 months later, after giving that panel, both of our channels have been terminated. So we obviously saw this coming, but I want to start with why. Why do you think PFT, and more specifically the Highwire, was selected for termination here by Google in 2020?
You and I are being blindfolded to the amount of people we are actually affecting. Google knows who we're affecting. They're looking at the real analytics, and they are terrified, and that is why I think they're singling us out, because to you and I would be like, what difference are we really making? We can't tell. I'm telling you, we are making a gigantic difference. We have a movement growing in this world, and they want to stop the voices of that movement.
I was way ahead on this. I called the overreach, the experimental shots, and the control grid for exactly what it was from day one. And for that, in July of 2020, my entire YouTube channel, with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, tens of millions of views, was permanently terminated with no strikes and no warnings. I was just wiped out because I refused to toe the official line. Well, they tried to erase me. They tried to silence the truth, but they couldn't stop me because the truth with a capital T is on my side. I pressed on across every platform that they hadn't captured yet. And now, after everything, I'm going to the Allison inquiry. I will be in Ottawa in person, on the ground, covering every day of the hearings. I will be interviewing the key people involved, the injured, who finally get to speak, and the organizers and the MPs who show up. This is the story they never wanted told, and I intend to document it fully. But folks, I cannot do this alone. Travel, lodging, equipment, production, it all costs real money in a time when independent journalism is under constant attack. So if you value this kind of on-the-ground reporting, if you want to see these voices amplified instead of buried, I need your help and your financial support right now. Every contribution keeps Press for Truth alive and on the front lines. The mainstream media is already circling like vultures, calling it a grievance session, trying to poison the well before a single word is spoken. Of course they are. They were the cheerleaders for the mandates. They helped silence the early warnings, including mine. But now, the bodies and the broken lives are too numerous to hide, and the panic is setting in. This is not a full royal commission with subpoena power. It won't drag Trudeau's inner circle or Pfizer executives into the dock yet. But it is the first public sworn record of the human costs right on the steps of power. And once these testimonies are out, they can never be unheard. The cover-up is cracking in real time. So here's the call, my friends, and it's urgent. Watch every single day of the hearings. Record them. Share them everywhere before the algorithm buries them. Flood your MP's inbox, phone, and office, and demand they attend. Name them publicly if they refuse. If your elected representatives will not listen to constituents whose lives were ruined by a government-pushed product, then they have declared themselves a part of the problem. If you or someone you love is still suffering and you have not applied, go to the website. Get that story on the official record before the window closes. And if you can support this work so that I can be there in person, documenting every second, please do. Links are in the description. The silence ends September 8th. The injured are rising, and Parliament Hill will hear their voices, whether the establishment likes it or not. I was there at the beginning when they tried to erase me, and I'll be there in Ottawa when the truth finally breaks through. This is the moment they never wanted you to see. So stay locked in, stay loud, and keep pressing for the truth like your lives and the lives of the next generation depend on it. Please share this video far and wide with everyone you know. Donate at the link in the description, and subscribe if you're new here, and stay tuned for my coverage. Thank you so much for watching. As always, stay vigilant, keep fighting the good fight, and stay tuned. I'm going to have more video reports coming soon, God willing. This is Dan Dix reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free.